Today on the UOFanatic Podcast, an in-depth discussion about solo traveling at the Universal Orlando Resort. But first, a little news and, of course, some HHN news and rumors.
Hello? This is Jonah Jameson. Roger, over. Is this thing on?
My name is Angus, and I am a UOFanatic. Welcome to the show. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review on your platform of choice by searching UOFanatic. Also on YouTube. Follow along and continue the conversation at UOFanaticPod on Twitter as well. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to dive right into the news. Lost Continent. Walls are up, permits are out, and the Lost Continent is finally coming down. What a shame, because it's the most beautiful land that had nothing in it. I shouldn't say nothing. It has mythos. You've heard me gloat about that before. It also has Fire Eater's Grill, an excellent quick service option, by the way. Doesn't get enough love. Of course, we know the All Hallows Eve has been relocated to the front of the park. Now, let's just hope they can keep Mythos open as late into the refurbishment as possible. And of course, the heavy-hitting rumor here has been Pokemon. After hearing for years it would have been Zelda. Time will tell. So when it comes to Epic Universe fireworks, not only have we seen permits and seen the work in progress on the permanent launch sites, thank you BioReconstruct, but now we see Universal has job openings for firework-related jobs. I keep hearing people say they can't imagine when this would start, but come on, it's America's 250th anniversary on July 4th. It's definitely got to be done before that, right? I mean, what a missed opportunity if not. Additionally, we know that there was a trademark filed by Universal for the name Celestial Goodnight. If that wasn't enough, we'd seen some fan photos by people staying at Helios with some photos of what appears to be a phoenix projected into the biggest fountain, which, by the way, that fountain is now drained, and a lot of work gone on there as well. I'm looking forward to it for sure. Can't wait to see this from inside the park and from Bar Helios as well. Two different amazing ways to see the show. If all those updates and progress weren't enough, we had seen several permits moving around the Epic area, not just the meeting space by the Kronos and Super Mario, but also what most are expecting to be a huge attraction in the Potter expansion spot. It's about the size of Ministry's attraction already, so we're expecting it to be big, and another indoor attraction, which is significant for the park with its seasonal rains. Last but not least, there is a plot just outside the area that is getting some grading work done. Some are speculating more hotels, some speculating a City Walk 2.0, and of course, Universal is just saying ground maintenance. Universal Orlando announced that the Burger King Whopper Bar will close on April 21st, and Five Guys will take over that space later this summer. This should be very interesting because Five Guys is not very cheap. So I don't know. I personally don't think this is going to work out well for them, but yeah, what do I know? The Epic Universe Preview Center is closed at the time of this recording, April 13th, to make a way for the return of Universal Legacy Store. The Legacy Store will reopen in late April with retro Universal Studios Florida merchandise and photo ops. I loved that store, so I'm pretty excited about this. We have the return of Pat O'Brien's Speakeasy. The Speakeasy first debuted during last year's Mardi Gras celebration. This is from Inside Universal. The Speakeasy features indoor and outdoor seating with great views of City Walk from the second floor of Pat O's. The menu features small apps and era-appropriate cocktails, but they do have beer, wine, and a traditional open bar as well. Also from Inside Universal, while details on how to obtain the password remain intentionally vague, it's not hard to decipher it once you arrive at Pat O'Brien's. Basically, they're telling you they don't want to spoil the secret, but don't worry, it's not going to be difficult. HN Nightmares posted their latest spec map, and I want to go around the park with what we see there and talk about what everyone else seems to be speculating as well. I am by no means a person who gets these rumors or deciphers them. I just listen and I'm going to report back what people are saying. So in Soundstage 22, we do know this one is confirmed. This is the Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control. It is, as I said, the only confirmed house. And we covered this in so much detail. I'm just gonna move along. In Soundstage 23A, we have a picture of a burning book. Everyone seems to think it's Evil Dead Burn. I would caution everyone that this property was supposed to happen in the past, and at last minute it didn't happen, and they had to scramble with an original to take its place. My recollection was the movie premiere date was postponed, and it wasn't out in time, and they didn't want the house to spoil it for the fans. There is a new Resident Evil movie coming out, directed by Zach Kreger. It is a reboot of the film series with an original story inspired by the early video games. The plot centers on Brian, a medical courier who encounters a horrific outbreak in Raccoon City. The movie stars Austin Abrams and is scheduled for release on September 18th, 26th. That date is already late. If it slips at all, I can't see them continuing on with it again, so we're going to have to wait and find out. Unless it's specifically focused on the game, Resident Evil Requiem, which is also informally called Resident Evil Burns, it was released in February. I apologize. This is mostly straight out of Google because this isn't a game that I have ever played. Sound Stage 23B. It has the heavy metal hand sign. Actually, it has the I love you sign, but we think it's supposed to be the heavy metal, and we think it's going to be replacing what was on the map, on the prior version of the map, with two skeletons dancing that everyone was expecting to be Lady Gaga. But now, it looks like people are speculating that this is going to be either an Ozzy Osbourne house or a heavy metal 3D house, which would be inspired by the Slaughter Cinema 2 house from 2024. I am personally hoping for an Ozzy house for selfish reasons. This is someone who I had been listening to since I was a young teenager. I just think Ozzy Osbourne is such a legend. His music is definitely something that the topics definitely are something that you can work with for a Halloween Horror Night. And it's just with his death, just a tribute would be super awesome. Soundstage 24B. This is definitely confusing to me. It looks like makeup, and the lipstick has a hazardous weight symbol on it. Most people are saying BizCon is back, and I even hear people saying it will be a merge with Vanity Ball Scare Zone from 2019, along with BizCon. I do think the BizCon angle is what they're trying to tell us on this map, because if you zoom in really close to you can even see a bee. BizCon is a fictional sinister corporation that first appeared in HHN 31, which was in 2022, and it has a dark backstory that stretches back to the 1920s. In lore, BizCon is known for producing toxic chemicals and pest control products that cause horrific mutations and disasters. While the tie-in seems solid, for some reason it just sounds like a weird choice, so this is one of those houses I'm honestly expecting to change. Maybe even in the next version of the spec map. Time will tell. Soundstage 24A, Stranger Things 5. It's an upside-down grandfather clock. What else could it be? I would actually be stunned at this point if Stranger Things is not at the event this year. We've had the other years covered, and it just makes too much sense. So let's move along. In the Fast and Furious area, I am loving this one. The icon is Guts and Blood. The rumor mill is saying this is a reference to HR Blood and Guts. This was an amazing original concept. HR Blood and Guts was an HHN character introduced in Halloween Horror Nights 21, 2011, as the deranged TV horror host of the haunted house HR Blood and Guts presents Holidays of Horror. The house became a fan favorite for its dark comedy, over-the-top gore, and twisted takes on classic holidays. Lawrence Larry Kutzberg, a former Broadway actor from the 1930s whose career fizzled out, leading him to work in his uncle's taxidermy shop. He was later offered a low-budget hosting gig for the WKNB Midnight Horror Show. Larry embraced the persona HR Blood and Guts a little too seriously, as his holiday-themed horror episodes became increasingly disturbing. Ratings tanked when the producer canceled the show. Blood and Guts snapped, kidnapping and torturing crew members during one final broadcast. This house was so much fun. Each room was dedicated to a different killer holiday. This is one of my most memorable houses of all the years I've been going now. Blood and Guts and his WKNB studio reappeared in Welcome to Scary, Horror in the Heartland at HHN 30. This original alone would be enough to make me excited for HHN 35. So please, Universal, don't hurt me. All right, moving to the tents. Tent 4 has an icon is 2 cigarettes and a lighter. While I have not seen the movie Sinners, everyone is convinced that is what it is. It received 16 nominations at the Academy Awards and had 4 wins, including Best Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Original Screenplay. When it comes to horror, this is a pretty incredible feat. The icon connection is apparently because of the two twin brother characters named Smoke and Stack. I do see concerns from some of the fans that the movie sets make them wonder how it could be represented in the house, but I have no doubt that Universal knows how to show off vampires. 10-3. The icon for 10-3 is a pincushion, and so we all can only think of one thing related to that and horror. It's Pinhead. Clive Barker created the Hellraiser franchise. The Cenobites are not demons in the traditional sense, but explorers of sensation. At the heart of the franchise is the Lament configuration, a puzzle box that opens a gateway to another dimension. Those who solve it summon the Cenobites, these extra-dimensional beings who explore the extremes of sensation, often through brutal, ritualistic torture. The stories typically include someone seeking forbidden experiences, opening the box, and a descent into a world where pain and pleasure blur. This is one of those properties that have been rumored several times in the years, and now it's starting to look like Universal finally landed the property, as it has been in the rumors now since before Christmas. Rather than picking very specific movies or stories out, I hope they just use the basic premise and let Universal run with it. There's a lot of world building potential with twists on horror and sexuality. Tent 2 is a little weird. It looks like a cage with an animal maybe cooking a person. Not completely sure, but the last map, we think this would have been the paw print, so it's been a little bit updated now. So now all the cat lady rumors have died off, and people are talking about this. Maybe the animals take over and are after the humans. Seems like a basic concept, but sometimes it's those simple concepts that hit so hard. So not a lot here for now, so we can keep going. Tent 1. Another strange one, an alien-looking being wearing a cowboy hat. The 2011 space western action thriller film directed by Jon Favreau seems so obvious everyone seems to be looking right past it. There seems to be a strong opinion in the community that this is an original, and with that in mind, people are wondering if it isn't maybe a mashup of a couple of original ideas they had done before. In 2016, there was a house, absolutely gorgeous house called Ghost Town: The Curse of Lightning Gulch, a Western cowboy town theme that you still hear people talk about today. Whenever the concept of a beautiful haunted house comes up, that's when you hear about this. The following year, in 2017, in San Francisco, there was a scare zone called Invasion. You get the idea. An alien invasion is underway and humans are being captured and so forth. So why not invasion versus ghost cowboys, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. So now that we've covered all the rumors for the houses, for the first time in the spec map, we actually have the zones in shows. So at the entrance zone, it sure looks like it's the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. It's a carnival symbol on the icon, and being up front, it just has to be, right? We already learned that the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares is kind of the cohesive theme for this year's event. Maybe we'll see Jack and Oddfellow here, or maybe both. But for sure, we're going to see their minions at the carnival will be welcoming us into the event. In New York City, we have a clown face. Now, we'd heard a rumor about maybe killer clowns and out the clown and any other clowns we could find. Here is where that might happen. I would be pretty excited to see all of these clown IPs here, but that just doesn't seem right to me. Licensing must be a nightmare. But we do know the relationship between Universal Creative and the Killer Clowns and Terrifier properties are in a really good state. We've seen them all interact even on Twitter and so forth. So maybe we'll be lucky enough to have all that. And while we're at it, send in it. But I'm skeptical. Central Park. Central Park has a banana icon, which apparently means heavy into the Fortnightmare rumor. I can't believe how angry some of the community is over this rumor. I have seen some meltdowns, but not like this one. We always have 1 or 2 week scare zones at minimum, honestly. So if you hate this idea so much, I'm not sure why it's such a big deal. Let other people have some fun, right? I have no idea if this will work or not, but I'll definitely pass this way when I'm heading to the 10 houses. If for nothing else, to see the tears of all the other HHN fans. Hollywood has the 35 in the logo, which has to mean a 35th anniversary zone. I personally love this idea, and this is a great location. This could be a callback to so many of the things we've seen over the years. And while the event is beloved because it lacks repetition, we of course miss some of those classic icons from years past. I personally am hoping for some stages, maybe some little shows. I don't care if it becomes a photo spot either. Just inject it all into my veins. All right. So at the fear factor stage, I have no idea. I can't even figure out what the icon is. Some people are saying, I don't know, 4 Jack in the Boxes. It doesn't look like a Jack in the Box. It's not even symmetrical. I don't know what it is, but it's a really big surprise to me because I was just assuming Nightmare Fuel would be back. Yeah, we definitely heard the contract was up, but it was so popular. I just figured it would be renewed. I think most other fans thought the same because nobody seems to know what this is. Is it 4 boxes? Some of that maybe like I said, the Jack in the Boxes, but honestly, I don't know. I don't think this is a way to represent it. If you had some ideas, please share them with me because I just don't know what to expect other than hoping next map it has a little bit better of a clue at least. Additionally, the map seems to indicate that Club Horror, Mill Zombies, and the Death Eaters will all be back, which is no surprise, and it seems to imply there's a Lagoon show will be happening, which is also not a surprise. However, we are starting to hear a rumor that people are implying the Lagoon show might actually be based on an IP. And that sounds a little weird to have an entire show based on one property, but when you start looking down the lineup, Stranger Things is a big enough property to probably pull that off. If this pans out, this will be a really popular show, and I have to imagine it will pull more people out of the lines than usual. Maybe a double win here. All right, so we've not gotten the news out of the way and all the HHN rumors, so now let's dive into the main topic, Universal Orlando for solo travelers. One of the biggest benefits of solo travel is you have complete control over your schedule. You can operate on your own timeline, deciding when to start your day, whether to rope drop or sleep in, and which attractions to prioritize. You have the liberty to change plans on a whim, such as stopping for a butterbeer or rewriting a favorite roller coaster multiple times because you have no one to answer to. Solo travel relieves the pressure to hurry, allowing you to slow down or speed up based on your personal comfort and energy levels. You can choose the specific style of rides or shows you enjoy most and skip experiences that a group might otherwise insist on. There are also some real personal growth opportunities when traveling solo. Successfully navigating a solo trip can build courage and confidence, serving as a gateway to further solo adventures. Traveling alone provides a rare opportunity to reflect on your experiences and truly relax without worrying about the needs of others. Additionally, without the distractions of a group, you may be more likely to notice hidden gems such as unique views, interactive elements, or theme details that others often overlook. While you are traveling alone, you are never truly alone and may find it easier to strike up friendly conversations with staff or fellow parkgoers. One of the most practical perks to solo travel is the single rider lines, which can significantly reduce wait times for popular attractions. How could you not feel welcome as a solo traveler when they literally have a line designed for just you? Choosing your hotel as a solo traveler can be anything you want it to be. You don't have to try and please anyone else. So, while trying to negotiate across different vibes and budgets, right? Only one person to please, and you know your budget. If you want to go maximum savings because you don't intend to spend much time in your room, consider Endless Summer, Surfside Inn and Suites. Surfside's a little bit smaller and cozier than Dockside. Otherwise, choose Dockside. One disadvantage of the Endless Summer resorts is they are located outside of what we consider the universal bubble. So, as a solo traveler, maybe security is an important factor and staying in that bubble is a priority. In that case, you should probably lean towards Aventura or Cabana Bay if budget is your priority. Maybe you want to be pampered at your hotel. Maybe you want to take advantage of more premier amenities. If you did want to focus on a mixture of better amenities and budget, then Sapphire Falls or Helios Grand would be great options. Express Pass might be something your traveling group never seems to be on board with, and this is your chance. Now you could be looking at Portofino Bay, Royal Pacific, and or even the Hard Rock Hotel as your choice. A split stay might be an incredible opportunity for you to focus on convenience during your vacation. Split stays can be complicated for groups, but significantly less so for solo travelers. Imagine a scenario where you stay at Portofino Bay for the first 2 nights, and you spend 3 full days park hopping between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure with that unlimited express and a short boat ride back and forth. Follow that up with 2 nights at Helios Grand and spend the next 2 mornings stepping out of your park and into Epic Universe. The emerging pattern is simple. Whatever you want, and remember, you have the right to change your mind. Universal has a very easy cancellation period. You can book, cancel, or rebook to your heart's content, or at least up until 5 days before. Over the years, a lot of questions I have been asked are related to what seems to be a very general, anxious feeling to the idea of dining alone. Let me assure you there is a very simple solution. Take advantage of bar seating. The idea of sitting alone at a table in the center of a restaurant is probably scary to quite a lot of people, but nobody thinks twice about a person who arrives at the bar alone. Sitting at the bar even has some advantages. Most notably, you can eat when you want without a reservation. No guessing when you might be hungry, you just go when you are hungry. What a novel idea. Universal Orlando has so many bars, and that includes almost all of the sit down restaurants. Some of the hottest reservations at the resort are typically walk up bar friendly, like to some Vivo or Big Fire. Another benefit, most bartenders are skilled conversationalists. They typically know how to engage with anyone, as little or as much as the patron engages back. You don't have to sit there in silence unless you want to. Bars tend to be a generally safe space for other patrons to engage as well. This isn't a nightclub. You won't typically get the wrong type of engagement from other guests, but in the event you do, just remember you are in a very safe space where the team members and security are close by. If these were the sort of concerns that prevent you from solo travel in the past, welcome to your new future. One final note on dining as a solo traveler. Don't forget there is nobody with you to judge you. If you want ice cream for breakfast, go for it. If you want no meals and nothing but snacks, not a problem. What happens at Universal Orlando stays in Universal Orlando. Safety is definitely a major concern when it comes to thoughts about solo traveling. But Universal Orlando is set up in a manner that should address most concerns, particularly in the northern campus where you really have a bubble that keeps most of the outside world and its problems away. The northern campus consists of Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, City Walk, Portofino Bay, Hard Rock Hotel, Royal Pacific, Sapphire Falls, Aventura, and Cabana Bay. In this bubble, you can walk, bus, or boat and always be on property in that safe zone. Universal has security constantly patrolling the entire resort, including the garden walkways. If you limit yourself to only busing and not walking, then you can add the Endless Summer Resorts, Terra Luna, Stella Nova, and Helios Grand, and of course Epic Universe to your itinerary. Stella Nova, Helios, and Epic Universe are also in their own smaller bubble. It's not that Terra Nova is far away. In fact, it's only about 10 minutes to the crosswalk where Epic is, but it is definitely more out in the public streets, so that might make some people uncomfortable. So just keep that one in mind. One final safety precaution you can take as a solo traveler is making sure you have a portable battery. In the event you use up your phone battery, it's pretty common when on vacation with all the pictures and the videos you take. You want to make sure you still have your communication options available to you to help you feel more safe. I do frequently travel solo to the Universal Orlando. It's part of being a fanatic. I do enjoy going with friends and family as well. They're just very different types of trips. Generally, we all go for a big HHN trip every year, and sometimes I convince my wife or one of my kids to go with me separately. And then I like to fill in the gap and take some smaller trips by myself. It's a very freeing experience, and as we covered, you only have one person to please yourself. I strongly recommend it if you haven't done it. I will be doing it once again soon. I will definitely provide some updates after my next solo adventure. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the UOFanatic Podcast. So let me ask you, have you ever done a solo trip? Would you now? I'd love to know. Please comment on Twitter to @UOFanaticPod or leave a comment to UOFanatic on YouTube. While we're on the topic, please like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. I would also really appreciate it if you spread the word about the show or share an episode on social media. I really would appreciate your support. Speaking of support, if you'd like to support the show, please consider allowing me to assist you and book your Universal vacations. I am an authorized Universal Orlando Resort specialist with decades of experience at touring the Universal Orlando Resort. Remember, my service costs nothing to you, absolutely free. I am paid for by Universal Destinations. Find out more at UOFanatic.com, where you can fill out a short form on the right sidebar to let me know how to get in touch with you about your Universal Orlando vacation. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Guess that wraps things up. You guys did all right. But don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.